All right, if you're buying a house this year and you're laser focused on one number, the mortgage payment, watch this video because it could save you thousands of dollars a year. Because here's the truth nobody explains clear enough. Your mortgage payment is not your housing cost. It's just the starting point. So I watch buyers close on houses feeling great. And 6 months later, they call me back saying, Matt, my insurance just jumped. Or Matt, my taxes are way higher than I expected. Or Matt, the HOA just hit us with a special assessment. And in Florida heading into 2026, these surprises are hitting harder than ever. So today I want to walk you through the real cost of home ownership, especially here in coastal Florida. So you don't buy a house you can afford to buy, but can't afford to keep. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, you want to learn everything there is to know about living in New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas like Edgewater, Port Orange, Daytona Beach Shores, Ormond Beach, Ponce Inlet, and of course here at New Smyrna Beach, then you have come to the right place. My name is Matt Ecoff. I'm a local real estate expert. I'm also the creator of the Living in New Smyrna Beach channel, and I'm here to help people make the right purchasing decisions and selling decisions. Listen, I get phone calls, emails, text messages, Zoom invites every day from people just like you wanting to move to the beach or wanting to sell their beach home. So whether it be in 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to help you buy or sell at the beach. Please make sure that like button and subscribe so you get all the updates and notifications about New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. All right, so let's talk about topic number one. Your mortgage is the floor, not the ceiling. Okay, most buyers shop like this. What monthly payments can I qualify for? But that's completely backwards. Your mortgage payment is the minimum you'll pay every month, not the maximum. So the real monthly costs stack on top of it, especially if you're not rolling them into your mortgage payment. So things like insurance, which can change year over year, property taxes, likely not to exceed 3% year over year with homestead. If you have questions about that, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to walk you through homestead. The exemptions here in Florida are phenomenal, so you definitely want to take advantage of them. Maintenance, which likely stays the same. We're talking about yard maintenance and pool maintenance, so not really a lot of adjusting factors there. HOA fees can fluctuate up. You'll very rarely see them go down. It can happen, but HOA fees are going to go up most likely. Special assessments. Now, there aren't nearly as many as since 2022 to 2024. Once that collapse in Miami happened, then we had what are called Sears reports and milestone reports, engineering reports, basically to make sure the balconies are secure and the property is secure. Those are pretty much past. They ended in June 30th of last year, which was 2025. So they're pretty much behind the special assessments. Not to say that special assessments can't come up for new roofs and new sidewalks and things like that, new landscaping, but not nearly as big of a deal as it was in the prior 3 years before. And then utilities are also month-to-month costs, but those in New Smyrna Beach are likely going to stay the same. The coastal cities here, utilities are very inexpensive, so you're not going to probably be spending more than $300 to $400 a month max, and I'm talking about gas, water, sewer, electricity, all in. You're not going to pay more than $300 to $400 a month, likely. All right, so let's talk about number two, which is insurance being the biggest budget buster in 2026. Now, all right, so if there's one thing blowing up budgets right now, it's insurance, not interest rates. All right, so here's something to keep in mind. Since 2021, homeowners insurance premiums are up nearly 70%. Projections show another 16% increase by 2027. Now, I'm January 6th, 2026. So by the end of next year, we're probably looking at another 16% increase. I personally seen renewals jump 15 to 20% in a single year with zero claims. Why in the heck would the cost go up if I've had zero claims? Okay, so rising rebuild costs, storm exposure, especially in the coastal cities, and the closer coastal you are, the more risk you're going to have in the minds of the insurance company, no matter what kind of build you have, stricter underwriting, and flood zone adjustments. And here's the part that the buyers miss. The insurance quote you get at closing is not locked in. That's your year one number, not your forever number. When I work with buyers in New Smyrna Beach and surrounding coastal cities, beachside, oceanfront, intercoastal, condo properties, we always build an insurance buffer into that budget. However, don't be scared here. If you shop this yearly, you can actually bring it down. I will tell you, Rachel and I personally brought our insurance down $5,500 a year when we shopped it last year, which was a significant difference in our mortgage payment, about $475 a month reduction in our mortgage payment because we were able to shop around. And I will say that these insurance costs going up, and they have increased, it's mainly on the west coast of Florida, not nearly as much on the east coast. In 2025 was the first year in 11 years we did not have a hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean. That is a huge deal. And so for the last prior years, 2022, 23, 24, and 25, the West Coast and the Gulf have had a lot more damage than us. So Naples and Captiva Island and Sanibel Island and Sarasota and Tampa, those areas have been hit a lot harder. So that 70% increase since 2021, which is a really, really big deal. Most of that is in the West Coast. We're actually seeing prices go down here on the East Coast. But again, it's something that you need to shop year over year because insurance companies are competitive. And I will tell you, you're going to have different options if you're mainland versus beachside. So beachside's got a couple that, that I recommend all the time, and mainland's got a lot more just because they're mainland and a lot of them aren't in flood adverse zones. So, and just because they're just not so coastal. So anyway, this is something to shop year over year. So don't be too scared about it, but it is something to think about. All right. So number 3, we're going to talk about is property taxes can jump actually after you close. So this one catches people off guard all the time. Buyers look at what the current owner pays in taxes and assumes that will be their bill. Well, let me tell you, I got 1422 North Atlantic Avenue. She bought in 1997 for around $300,000. Her insurance bill per month is or it's not per month, goodness gracious, around $2,400 in taxes. Well, the house has appreciated greatly. She's done a ton of work to it, and it's on one of the most expensive addresses and streets in Smyrna Beach, North Atlantic Avenue. We have it listed for sale for $1.2 million. I'm going to tell you, your taxes are going to be different $1.2 million than what she purchased in 1997. However, on the flip side, I got people that buy places, they bought really high in 2021, 2022. They paid maybe $900,000, $800,000, $900,000 for a place, and now they're selling it for less money than that, and they weren't homesteaded. And maybe they weren't 55 or older. So there's ways around this. What you want to look at and what you want to think about, this is the main thing. And if you don't hear anything else from this video, this is super important. 1 to 1.1% of the purchase price is what you're going to pay on your annual taxes, property taxes for the house. 1 to 1.1%. And it can be even lower if you're over 55, if you have a military background, if you're making this a homestead property, but on average is about 1 to 1.1%. All right, so let's talk about 3 quick reasons why the property taxes will probably change most likely. The home is reassessed, number 1. Number 2, the taxable value can reset closer to the purchase price. And number 3, exceptions may not transfer. So again, just because you have somebody here, now this could go good or bad, okay? So I want to say there could be somebody that this is their second home, they have no homestead, they're under 55 and they have no military, and you could be buying to be over 55, you're going to make this your permanent resident and homestead it, and you have a military background. So fantastic. You're probably going to actually lower the taxes versus raising them. So don't always think this is a bad thing. I always tell the buyers, never base your taxes on what the seller is paying. That is a no-no. Just stay away from it. Don't even look at it. Instead, we're going to calculate the taxes based on the sale price and the homestead status. All right, let me say one last thing. Yes, if the county overassesses the home, you can appeal it, but it's better to plan correctly up front than scramble later. Again, it's always safe to assume 1 to 1.1% of the actual purchase price for your taxes. All right, so let's get into number 4, which is maintenance, which is always the most underestimated cost. All right, so this can be a quiet killer for a lot of budgets. A lot of buyers still hear the old rule, budget 1% of the home value for maintenance. That rule is outdated, especially when you live coastal. Today, a realistic number is 2% minimum, and I would say probably 3 to 4% for older homes or coastal properties. Now, why? Well, again, labor costs are up, material costs are up, and Florida homes take more wear and tear from the humidity, the salt air, and the storms. And I will tell you this too, maintenance is not smooth and consistent. You might go 2 or 3 years without having anything, and all of a sudden, boom, $18,000 new roof, $9,000 new air conditioning system, $8,000 new seawall. I mean, you have no idea what's going to pop up. So skipping inspections and ignoring system ages only makes this worse. All right, let's talk about number 5, HOAs. And I'm going to tell you, low fees can actually be a red flag. Here's the counterintuitive truth. A low HOA fee is always not a good thing. In condos and condominiums, low dues often mean deferred maintenance, underfunded reserves, and big increases coming later. When repairs finally happen, roofs, elevators, parking lots, seawalls. Fees can jump 30 to 50% in a single year or come in as a special assessment. That's why I always review HOA financials, reserve studies, upcoming capital projects, especially in beachfront condos and co-ops. All right, so section 6, we're going to talk about the real monthly cost examples. All right, so let's make this real. Let's say our first house is a $300,000 home, okay? Before the mortgage, you're going to have taxes that are going to run around $275 a month or $3,300 a year if we're using our assumption of 1.1%. Your insurance is going to be about $140 a month or about $1,700 a year. You're going to have a maintenance reserve around $500, and then you're going to have utilities run around $350. So that is $1,265 plus on the plus side per month. That's before the mortgage payment. Okay, so this is why when people are looking at just their mortgage payment, it's really, really important to pay attention to these numbers. Well, let's talk about another example. In New Smyrna Beach in 2025, our average home was $625,000. That's mainland 32168 and beachside 32169. So average house was $324,000 and some change. So let's just make it easy math for me and say $625,000. So we're gonna have a monthly mortgage payment of around $3,750 for that $625,000 home. You're gonna have taxes around $575 a month. Remember, we're doing that 1.1%. You're going to have insurance costs about $170 a month. And then you have maintenance. We're using the maintenance numbers around $520 a month. That's $5,015 a month for a $625,000 home when the mortgage is only $3,750. So you got to keep this in mind when you're making a decision to buy the house. The gap between what buyers expect and what they actually pay is where people get into a lot of trouble. All right, let's get into the last section, the big takeaway. The mortgage gets you in the door, okay? But the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, and the HOA decide where you can stay. All right, in 2026, especially in Florida's coastal cities, insurance volatility is real. Taxes won't magically drop. Maintenance costs are not optional. The buyers who win are the ones who plan for reality, not plans for optimism. January 6th, we just ended the year, so we had tons of people taking advantage of homestead exemptions, trying to get closed. I had 4 closes last week, so not able to go and get as much time out in the field as I normally like to, but I thought today's topic was important to discuss, and especially for buyers, because when we start getting into final statements and altas and looking at, what buyers are actually going to be paying for their house, and that some people do get caught off guard, and I wanted to go back and break down some of the numbers. So listen, if you're thinking about buying in New Smyrna Beach or anywhere along the Florida coast, or if you want to help understanding the true cost of ownership, not just what a lender approved you for, reach out. Listen, I walk buyers through this before we make an offer, so there's no surprises later on. Listen, I get phone calls, emails, text messages, Zoom invites every day from people just like you wanting to move to the beach or wanting to sell their beach home. So whether it be 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to help you buy or sell at the beach. If this was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe so you get all the updates and notifications about New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. Until next time, thanks so much for joining us. Bye.